that glass back, you have that single camera setup, which, like I said before, maybe people like it, maybe people don't, but it is a very, very decent single camera setup. It's a 12 megapixel sensor, and honestly, if I had to say it, I really, really wish they added a secondary lens to this one. I think that would have really changed a lot of people's opinion on these, especially the base model iPhones. Of course, this was back in 2017, and Apple had to make some discrepancies, but as time goes on, it seems that the biggest disadvantage of, these older camera setups are the single camera setups. Even if that single camera is like the best camera in the world, you may still be overshadowed by a camera that's not quite as good but has a telephoto lens or an ultra wide sensor, and we've seen this time and time again. In my opinion, I felt like the Galaxy S9 had a pretty decent camera, but it was a single camera setup, so people don't really talk about it anymore. But that Galaxy S10 has a triple camera setup, and I talk about it, I think, a lot more than I talk about the Galaxy S9's camera because of that extra opportunity you have on those ultra wide and telephoto lenses. With this one, it's a single camera. It'll get the job done. You can do 4K at 60, which is nice, and I can definitely tell you it's on the better side of things. If we're just looking at that single camera setup, I honestly think it's a really good camera. You can do 4K at 60, like I stated. That's a very important thing. You don't have portrait mode on this, but you do have like panorama and slow-mo and things like that, which not people use. But if you're taking photos of your family, or you're going out in a park and you're trying to make Snapchats or TikToks, this phone will be able to do you just fine. However, that front camera is also pretty decent as well. It's a single 7 megapixel sensor as well, and like I said before, I'm the type of person who uses the front camera more than the back camera most times. If I'm making Snapchats or if I'm doing whatever, FaceTiming somebody or whatever, I can go and use that front camera, and this camera is pretty good for the most part. It's not going to go too crazy on you. It's not going to have the craziest quality and portrait mode and blurring effects, but I think if you're not a professional photographer, if you don't really care too much, I think it'll be fine for the most part. So this camera, I think, has definitely held up. I think it's good. It's not the best camera, but it'll definitely get the job done in my opinion. So for sure, the camera department, I think, holds up well. And the funny thing is with iOS 14, we actually do get some extra camera features, which is really cool. We can now change the video resolution within the app, so we don't have to go into the settings panel and all that stuff. We can actually go straight into our camera and just go from there, which is something that's really, really awesome. So iOS 14 brought a lot of cool things, but the stability aspect of iOS 14 still has a lot of work to do.